you just generally want more eyeballs. 50% of the population are female. But because women in many ways do see the world in a different way to men on average, there's a lot of overlap, but there are differences, and some of those differences are extremely valuable. Women tend to see social glue, to see the glue that holds society together more accurately. If you think back to tribal times, it was the men went out and like provided in many ways of bringing the things home and providing security, etc. The women did all the social work to keep the tribe functioning and together. And they work together, and again, you can't have one without the other. But women would do a lot of sort of silent behind the scenes work that men just don't realize is going on. We still do it today. The number of like fires I've put out in friend groups, in family dramas, and companies, and so on. It's just we do it all the time because we see what's going on in ways that men are just blind to. And so there's this complementarity of the masculine and the feminine. So it's just generally good. And honestly, like the women I know in the AI, in whether it's poker, AI safety, choose your gender imbalanced field that I've been spending time in. I somehow always end up in a place where it's like 90+% male. The few women that are in there are so brilliant, and so like they're such incredible generalists. They're just really, really good at so many things. They're not just like maximalists at this one particular topic. That you're usually missing a beat because they all have all these like these very synthesized views because they just see everything that's going on. You're going to strengthen your community if you have that. Now, again, that's not to say that there isn't such a thing as toxic femininity. Definitely, that's what the whole woke thing was. That was basically an overcorrection to toxic masculinity. You had like, it was just masculine, grow, extract, blah, 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 blah. And then, screw the consequences. And then this sort of like green movement came out of it in the sort of 60s, 70s of like, wait a second, guys, we've got rivers on fire and all this other stuff. That came as a necessary thing. But then at some point it went too far where it was like an over obsession with like sort of safetyism and, don't hurt anyone's feelings and so on, to the point where it became like very, again, sort of freedom reducing. That's where the toxic side of it comes. So, but we're so far from that, in most of the like AI spaces. It's worth keeping an eye out of, but it's so far from. And then as you say very correctly, like there are very few things there's very few groups more focused and passionate than a group of mothers concerned about their children. The mama bear meme exists for a reason. Like, yes, if you are harder pushed to find a greater like example of like deep alignment for the well-being of another than that of a mother to her child. Fathers to children too, but mothers are an extra layer, especially when like the child's very young. And so while you want to be responsible with using that, you don't want to just like create moral panics around things that aren't true. If, for example, like, with the chat, like, I don't have children yet, but like, if I had a kid, I would be like watching them like a hawk with how they use their phone, social media, chatbots, etc. Because like if you're aware of how powerful this technology is, in terms of like the psychological manipulation it can do on any mind, but especially young minds, I think tapping into that deep love, which is essentially what it is. It's like that unbelievably powerful love and alignment for the well-being of others to raise awareness of a broader issue is definitely a smart strategy.
What do you think we can do to bring that mama bear vibe to this AI safety thing, to this AI risk question? I found some, like, as I try to talk to real people about this stuff all the time out in the real world, and I find sometimes moms are some of the hardest to talk to because they got so much going on. There's so much immediate stuff happening. There's, a mother with young children is busier than any executive with any whatever he's got going on. Like, I found it a tough breakthrough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would ask them, like, well, what are you struggling with regards to your children and technology? Ask them, and right. I imagine
meet them where they are. Yeah.
Well, just be like, hey, what have you noticed Are you happy with how your child is with their phones? Like, are they pressuring you to get a phone, or how much they spend playing? You know, if you do give them the internet or an iPad, like how long they spend. Are you happy with that? Like, if they're happy, then they're happy. You're not going to reach them. But if they